Ancient technologies. Building a pyramid. Obviously, I'm just messing around with my Legos. Ironically, I don't have enough of the pieces that I need. I just have a whole bunch of random pieces left over in there. And then here's some of the leftovers that I have. So I only have but so many of the 8 pibs blocks and the 4 pib blocks. I need tons more if I'm going to build a full-size pyramid, right? Or a small scale facsimile. But this would be enough to get it started. I just want to share the idea, to put it out there for now. I'm obviously writing a book that I already announced about how to build a pyramid. So, of course, I'm working on figuring out the exact pattern in which it was built. I was looking at a lot of different pyramids, not just the Egyptian pyramids, but also pyramids in Mexico and stuff like that, because a lot of them are, they're step pyramids, right? And it's interesting how they look. I wish I had a picture here to just show you what it looks like, but ironically it looks similar to kind of like this. They did that at the top there's going to be like some type of square or rectangular shape structure at the top, which they'll call it the temple, right? And then it slopes down like a pyramid, but in steps. So then it will look something like that, right? We go up to the top, where there'll be a big like structure at the top or something, right? So the idea here would be to create, and you want to offset it, create essentially a pillar. So you see how there's already, so this green part here is the Giza plateau, right? And then here's the first layer of blocks, then the second layer, third layer, fourth layer. So we're already 4 layers high. As you can see over here, here's obviously a little example of, you want to start putting up blocks to eventually create something like this, right? Where you have, here's the plateau, and then here's the first, second, third, fourth level, right? So if you want to move anything, right, like a 70-ton block or something, you would lift it up, put it on this level, this level, this level, right, until you get to the top, and then start moving around and build whatever you need to build, right? So, and then the idea is that you keep building up, right? So we'll add that piece there, and then you add more pieces, and then you just keep slowly building up. Right. So let's throw some of these smaller pieces to make another layer. Obviously you want the bigger blocks because they can offset. Right, but here's another layer. And then of course, like I said, you just want to bring the blocks up and then build another layer. But every time you're building up layers, you gotta build downward, right? So if I have another layer here, I have to start adding more to these layers here, right? So that way you still have a step. And the idea is you're building outward. So you start off from the center and you build outward in 4 directions. So you want to obviously build up here, right? And start getting some pillars, some stuff over here, right? Start building this area up. So that way you can start building up on this side. And you want to start building, so that way you have 4 sides that are building up into a shape. And then you want to eventually start filling in, the corner areas. But you want to start it from somewhere, right? So it'll be something like this, top view, right? So you want to build this tower up and then build north, south, east, west, right? Build outward, you know, these slopes, right? That's the way I'm looking at it, is that you don't build a pyramid out in, you build it in out. Just like an anthill, basically you start from the middle, start piling some stuff up, and you keep piling until you know, because you're piling on top of each other until you build something bigger. So something I'm messing around with, like I said, trying to figure it out. And that's more likely how they would have done it. Because once you understand, like, okay, how would you stack the blocks? It's one thing to say, oh yeah, they just stacked a whole bunch of blocks, and that's how they built the pyramids. It's like, okay, it's simple to say that, but how? How did they stack it? What's the order? Especially when you incorporate the idea that they offset it. You see how this just fell off so easily? Because all the blocks, you know, they're uniform, right? Boom, falling apart. But the ones that are offset, see, the stuff that's not offset easily fall off. Stuff that's not offset, as you can see, holds a lot more sturdy. So the fact that if you look at the pyramids, a lot of the blocks are offsets, where you see the lines, a little offsetted. So it's not perfectly straight up and down like how here, you see how everything is uniformed. So clearly here, a little bit of imperfection because it's uniform, it's not offset, right? If it's offset like here, move it around, you know, earthquake proof, right? By offsetting. So of course mortar will be needed, obviously, but to hold everything together. But it's just an idea of like how it would start. You'll want to start from here and work your way and build up. So when you're building a structure, especially a pyramid, you want the pyramid, you want to take into account the height of the pyramid and then the width, right? So that's the important part, like height and width. So the base of the pyramid determines the height, how far high you can go. Because like I said, you're going up and then you're going out. So you're going out from the center. So since this is the center, once you start building from the center outward, remember the idea, you're trying to create a slope, right? So trying to create a slope. So if you want a slope like this is up here is how high you need that center to go. So that way it slopes down straight up to a point. And you do that on all four sides, and then you fill in all the remaining four, you know, the corners, the four corners. Start filling them up after the fact. Because obviously you're going to be building stuff, right? You're gonna build, and you're gonna have these areas here, you know, empty. So you gotta start. You're gonna have to fill these up, right, until you get the perfect square shape, right? Big square shape. See, that could represent the base of the pyramid, and they just go above that. What else? Another interesting thing about doing this, like center out, is the fact that you could have like a crane. Yeah, it just says the example of a crane, right? You have a crane up here, right? A crane that can help, you know, that can help you lift this up, because the higher you go, right, the higher you go. Let's say that's the crane, right? That's the crane. The higher you go, you know, you want to be able to lift the blocks up. Use slightly smaller cranes to get up here, or the ramp block idea, you know, have little ramps so it can go so it can go up here. The crane grabs it. Let's say the crane moves around, drops it over here into place, right? Then boom. And then all you have to do is, you know, eventually move up the crane, right, to the next level. and then go again, right? More blocks. Crane, move it to the position it needs to be a higher position, like here, right? So you get the idea. It's like you're just building up, and then building up towards the top because you're trying to get to the top of that tower. So this should be what holds it up. It acts like a pillar in a way, to hold up that the big mega structure. You gotta have the center somehow, right? So this is just the idea of like, okay, so this is what the center might be like. I've seen some X-ray scans or some scans of the Great Pyramid, and I noticed there was a structure similar to that in the image of the Great Pyramid, where you saw a shape like this, and it's like, this looks interesting. And then there was like another shape, another square around it. So like extra blocks, around it. So it looks something similar to this. So there's a bit of a gap. So it's like, there's some gaps in between this block and that shape. And then there was an empty spot in the middle. So it's like, okay, so it looks like there's like walls. So there's walls out here. Then there's this. So you could say this is like an inner wall. Then there was an outer wall. And then there was another one. So it's kind of like 3 rings, 3 rectangular shaped walls. And the pyramid was like, and that's, some people say that that's a ramp, spiraling ramp. But it's like, maybe not. Maybe it's just the way the blocks are set up. And you have this core, then you have, like I said, you have another wall out here around that, and you have another wall further out, and then you have built up, and then you could have used those walls, right? If you had a couple walls, you could use those walls to help you lift blocks up, right? Because you bring the blocks here, and then you will have a crane like on this wall and a crane on that wall, for example, right? And then you'll pick up, go with a crane, pick up the block, and then move it over, right? And then use it to further build their pyramid. So it could be something like that. And they could also have like little steps, right? Little steps to let them get to that layer. So it'd be something like this, like, oh, let's get, step up here. Now we're up here, we can operate the crane that picks up the block and then put up there. So it's just a way of, just food for thought, for those who might be interested in trying to figure out how the pyramids are made. You can obviously use Legos, you can use, whatever materials you got. There's a program, I forgot what it's called, just try to look up Lego CAD, CAD, computer aided drawing, right, or drawing, Lego CAD basically, and it's just, it's a program that lets you use Lego shapes to build things. So it's literally digital Legos. Me, as you can say, I got real Legos, but not enough real Legos to do this. But I do have the program myself, so I have played around with it a bit. But it's been a while since I used it. The physical one is a little bit faster and a little bit more fun. Since I have it, since I have Legos, I might as well play around with them. But anyway, as you can see, that's starting to shape up like a pyramid, and it wouldn't take much to move these blocks around and stack them, especially lifting, because you're not lifting that high up. You just lift high enough to stack, which is going to build height, and then you just keep moving up and keep doing the process over and over again, and the structure itself will help you lift the blocks up, right? It'll help you Because another thing I want to point out is like, oh, 70-ton block, how you move that around? I was like, well, you have it on the platform, right? And you start building a platform, right? Start adding blocks, right, to build a platform. Then you just take that 70-ton block and just lift it up. And you can lift it up with like small cranes, right? Lift it up, boom, boom, boom. Let's put it here into this level, and then continue building, right? You could continue building the rest of that level, so that way now this will be on the next level. So now this is on the next level, right? And this is how you can take a 70-ton block from ground level, right? From ground level, where the Giza Plateau is, and get it as high as you need it, wherever you want to put that 70-ton block. You'll just put it on the structure, and while you're building up, you'll just lift it up, build under it, lift it up, build under it, and keep doing that over and over again. Right? See, lift it up, build under it, put whatever you need to put under it, right? Just build, right? See, just build right under it, and now you have the block up here on a higher level, because you're building under it and lifting it up using the structure itself. So that's how you build the Great Pyramid.